Hello and welcome to the Money Queen podcast. I am Alex Nicolaitis, the Money Queen. I am here to break the stigma that we don't talk about money here. I will deliver the loving bitch slaps that you need in your business to elevate you as a leader and support you through to that next level of welcoming in the wealthiest version of yourself. Backed by 14 years in the accounting and bookkeeping industry, I utilize the support of the masculine systems, structure, and ATO compliance combined with the feminine energetics of mentoring and allowing ourselves to be open to receiving and holding space for queens like yourself who are committed to forming a healthy relationship with money. So hit that subscribe button, leave me a rating, and I cannot wait to have you by my side as we raise the feminine collective and create true generational wealth and change.
It is 11:11 right now, and I'm like, let's start right now because it's going to be an amazing episode, being that it's starting on 11:11. I have an amazing human today with me, and her name is Sammi. Is it Jaeger or Jaeger? Tell me.
Jaeger, you got it.
Yeah,
Jaeger.
you got it. Thank you very much.
Like a Jaeger
Yes. Yeah, got old Jaeger bombs back in the day. They were a hoot. I have this amazing person to fill your ears today with some amazing goodness. And she came into my world a couple of months ago, being a speaker in one of the masterminds that I was a part of. And I'm like, I get to have a deeper conversation with her because part of the things that you spoke about really resonated with me in how intentional you live your life and you choose to show up in the world, and the things that you are going for in your business and your career as well really align with where I am at. And I'm like, she is in my vibration and I want to talk to her more. Well, how better to do this than bring her on the podcast? So welcome, Sammi. Thank you for making the time to come on the episode on the podcast rather today. Let me start off with this. Your Instagram name is Sammi is somewhere. So I'm going to ask you, where are you right now?
Yeah. Geographically, I am in Coogee, New South Wales, Australia. I've been for my beautiful beach walk this morning. But where am I in, if you zoom out even further than that, I am in my mid-30s. I am finding my feet as an entrepreneur. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. I found my feet as an entrepreneur over the last 5 years. I've started a couple of businesses and I'm actually in transition where I'm like really leaning into showing up as Sammi Jeager. In the past 5 years, I've started businesses, but really not led from the front. I've had business partners and things like that in those organizations. So this time I'm leaning into Sammi Jeager, coach, speaker, author, podcaster, all the things. So that's kind of one of the things where I'm at the moment.
I love that, right? And I have also had a history of having businesses with business partners. And this is the evolution of myself of going, actually, dear world, this is me in my fullest expression. Here I am, feel me, hear me, see me. And that is so fucking powerful. So talk to me about your evolution to actually get here, because I think a lot of people, and I've had this reflected to me yesterday, look at me and where I'm at with my business in particular and go, it just looks so easy for you. How do you just effortlessly look so nice or see how you perform in a photo shoot, for instance? That just looks so effortless to you. And so your life looks so effortless. But there's a lot of fucking hard work and a lot of things that you don't see that's enabled me to get here, to speak how I am now, to have asked you to be on this podcast, to have even created this podcast, to be consistent with this and with business. So talk to me about your experience of your journey to actually fully embrace you as you are right now, to be able to say yes to yourself.
I have just had an experience where this has been top of mind. So it's so serendipitous that you've asked this, that over the weekend, I completed my third triathlon. And my husband took a few little clips throughout the different legs of the race, and I'd put it together and shared it on Instagram. And a friend said, "Oh, you look so comfortable doing it." And I thought, gosh, it looks effortless because of all the effort that I put in to get to that point. And I think that's true for most things, with the way that we take care of ourselves, our romantic relationships, our home environment, the way that looks, the way that feels, our career, our business, our wealth portfolio, all of those kind of things are reflective of the effort. And I think when things look effortless, there's been some proactive effort to arrive at effortless.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like the duck analogy of like it's swimming on the pond, but then underneath the legs are like wagging like there's no tomorrow. It's like,
I feel like as a duck, like you do go through those like sprints where you're like go 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 underwater, but then sometimes you do get to a point where you get to glide, and you find the current or you find the stream and you get to glide, and that might last for a season or it might last for a second, and then you know the duck legs go again, but yeah, to create that effortless thing. But often we get to deploy energy either like proactively or reactively. Like a simple example, like being on your beautiful podcast talking about money, is like we can set up the automations to automatically put money into our different buckets, or we can do it reactively and pay bills as they arrive. Like you can choose which one. And for me, I like the effortless version of set and forget, do the effort up front once and let it go.
Yeah, yeah. And also like what that creates within you is the security and the safety to go, I know myself right now and I can trust that I've got enough coming in that I can put money aside for X, Y, and Z, like into your different buckets to go, I know I want $100 a week to just spend on whatever. I know I want $200 a month to spend on really wholesome activities with my partner, and like have that safety and security to go, like, yes, I get to be intentional about how the money comes into my world and also how the money goes out of my world. Because I think a lot of people get so focused on how is the money coming into my world as opposed to, well, how am I spending that? Because everyone, like I see in my work most commonly, people like, oh, I don't have enough money for the X, Y, and Z, or like I'm so poor right now, or like I want to be more wealthy. And it's about how much money comes into your bank. It's about how much money you keep and also what you then do with that, like what impact you make from that.
It was my husband's birthday a couple of days ago, and we went for dinner, and then we were going for a walk. We'd had an ice cream, and we were in the like Chinatown precinct in Sydney CBD, and there's some really like cute shops in there. Just, you know, they've got really cute things, and we were just having a bit of a browse. And my husband's into Pokemon. Like he's one of those crazy people who's still playing Pokemon Go, like the augmented reality thing. Still big kid, but they had
we love that for him.
Like, yeah, we had this like soft plushy Pokemon like toy in the window, and it was very cute. I'm not a Pokemon kid, but it was very cute, and it would have been very easy to spend $20 on a soft silly plushy toy for this in this moment to give to our dog, and that would have been money going out, but that would have been very temporary. Like whereas we could definitely deploy that resource that we worked hard for, we exchanged our time for, into something that is going to draw dividends, whether or not it's happiness dividends, relationship dividends, or like financial dividends for forever.
Amen to that. Now, speaking about, you've dabbled a few little seeds around in the conversation that we've had already so far, but in your work, which was highlighted when I met you, is this concept called 8 tanks. Now, the 8 tanks, for anyone who doesn't know Sammi, they are as follows: self, romantic relationship, the relationships and networking, a humming household, career and business, wealth and lifestyle, the world, and also the future. So with that,
you got those beautifully.
Yes, thank you very much. How did this come about? Because to me, when I see this list, like to me, my word for this year is wholesome. And everything in your list, in your 8 tanks, I'm like, they feel really wholesome. How did they come about in your world? Because obviously, like, there's a lot of thought that's gone into that, and I feel like there would have been experiences that you've faced to go, actually, I don't want this, or I do want this, and that's how they've come about. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so those 8 tanks represent how I like to live my life, that I call a fueled up life. That's the framework or the methodology. And it's given me the tools and framework to check in with those 8 tanks regularly, to make sure that none of them ever hit empty, or if they're starting to hit low, I have awareness about it, and I can make a conscious decision to leave it there, as opposed to it just kind of happening by accident or with unawareness, kind of like what we were talking about before with the proactive or the reactive energy. But that came about because in the last year of my 20s, I burnt myself out. I was exhausted. I was fatigued. I had lost my sense of self to a job. This is before I made the pivot from employee to entrepreneur, and I recognized that I didn't know what I wanted at that moment in time, but I knew it wasn't what I had, and I was given the opportunity by leaving that experience to start again, to wipe the slate clean. And I was really conscious that I didn't want to go and create the same again. I didn't want to repeat the pattern of outsourcing my validation and my gold stars and my self-worth to something outside of myself. And my experience, I did this with a job, but other people do this with their kids or with their partner, or being a carer, or being an entrepreneur to their business, where that sense of identity is so deeply connected to the role that we're playing. And I realized that I didn't want to do that again. And the irony had been that I was a goal setter. I was a proactive life by design person, but I had been setting goals in only a couple of areas of my life. And when I went back through my notes from the previous few years of goal setting and things, it was really easy to see like, oh, this is how I ended up so burned out by my job, because I'd put it first. Ahead of everything. Every week, every month, every quarter, I hadn't carved out time for my other 8 tanks. So as I went through all of my notes, I realized that there were these different areas of my life that really needed fuel. They needed things to be put into them so that they didn't hit empty. Like humming household as an example, like we can, our home can look however it looks, right? But how it feels is just so important. And if I spend all of my time and energy actively deploying effort to make sure there's groceries in the fridge, that I've got clean clothes to wear, that my floors are clean, that all of the plethora of domestic duties that we all have as adults, hopefully functioning in the world, taking care of ourselves. If I neglect that tank and that environment, it very quickly impacts my marriage and my relationship with myself. And then all of a sudden I don't want to have friends over because my environment's not okay to do that. So I just recognize that I want to get more intentional and proactive about how I take care of the different areas of my life, and how do I add fuel, and what is it that depletes fuel from those tanks too.
Yeah, it's a very poignant conversation around like, how do I top up that tank, but like actually focusing on, well, who or what or how is that tank actually being depleted, and is that is that something that I want to remove? Because like if you look at
we're often like sold the Instagram version of self-care, like the bubble baths or the massage, or go meditate, or go walk on the beach or whatever. But if that's not actually healing like your deep like relationship with yourself, those are all very topical applications. And really self-love in that moment might actually look like sitting down and being like, okay, my career and business tank is feeling really low. Let's do a mind map of where I am right now and all of the potential different routes that I could take, or that might be available to me in the next 5-10 years. And if that's too big, bring it down 1 to 3 years. Like that might actually be what self-care you need in that moment. And the bubble bath is probably not going to add fuel to the right tank at the right moment.
Yeah, it's like a get rich quick scheme in the money world. Like it's like, I
think we often we just expect those things to like be magic Band-Aid fixes, right? And you can do all of the things, be going to Pilates or yoga or exercising regularly. You can, be having your massages or your green juices or whatever, and still feel really hollow in that relationship with yourself, because it might be something else going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like the journey that I've had over the last, let's call it year, of like the relationship with myself and my body in particular has been so interesting to observe as a third party outside of myself over here, because I'm like, I've had health and fitness as like pretty much number one for a long time in my life, probably like the last 6 years or so. And then as I've now gone into a relationship, it's like, oh, but here's, and I caveat to this, I was single for like 13 years prior to this. So I'm like, now that I'm actually in a relationship, I'm like, oh, I just want all this love and attention and affection from my partner. And he has all the love in the world to give. So I've met the best person for me and for what I need. But it's like now my health and fitness, like over the last probably 6 months, has taken a back step, like it's taken number 2 or number 3. And I'm like, so it's allowed me in my own journey to go, actually, like as much as I love my partner and I love the relationship that we have and it's beautiful and wholesome, I actually come first, not my relationship with him. I come first in my relationship to self. And what do I need right now? I need my health and fitness to actually be number 1. What do I need from that? I actually need to wake up half an hour earlier than him so I can go to the gym and I come back a better person for myself and then for him. So like noticing that, and obviously
not alone. That is that is so common. That, what do they call it? NRE, new relationship energy.
Oh my God, yes. I was thinking to myself when I went to the gym the other day, I'm like, I feel like I'm literally the heaviest I've ever been in my life, probably, I don't know, 10 to 15-ish kilos heavier. And I'm like, I feel gross. But then I'm in the other part of my like brain, I'm like, but I feel so loved by like this relationship and my love relationship cup is overflowing like there's no tomorrow. But I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, just relationship like I had outsourced my love, my validation, my self-worth to my job. It sounds like maybe you've done a little bit of that with your relationship, and you've allowed your relationship to be filling that tank as opposed to your own relationship itself. And you are 100%. Not alone. Like, you are not the first, you won't be the last to do that.
Yeah. And I think like it's interesting as well because I was justifying it to go, well, I haven't been in a relationship for 13 years. Here's all this sacrifice that I've, languaged in my brain to go, no, you can't have that yet, because I was building my career and then building my business and, then moving and, being in Brisbane for the last 3 years and going like, this is me. Like, I need to be the best version of me to actually be able to attract my partner. And then now that he's here, I'm like, oh, cool. I get to actually surrender. Like, I get to be in the receiving energy of him and his love in our relationship. But then it's let other things slide that has, that I needed to actually be at that vibration to then meet him. So it's like so interesting to see how life plays out and how you notice and also justify and then go, oh no, it's fine for now. Like, especially when we're talking about body, it's like, oh, I won't go to the gym this morning because I want cuddles. And it's like, if you do that every single day for like 6 months in a row, your body's going to be looking quite different, isn't it?
As you've realized, Alex, like, and this guy, I thank you for sharing this. Like, this is, especially like women talking about our bodies and the way that we have been told that we derive value. That's our greatest, which is not true, right? We have so much more value to give than how we look and how we appear, and don't take up too much space and all of that.
Oh, society. Take up all the space, Queen. Take it all up.
But I wonder if you'd had a practice around really checking in with your relationship with yourself regularly, if you would have allowed yourself to have that continue for 6 months, or maybe you would have noticed the pattern that, month 1, I'll let it go. Month 2, I'll let it go. Maybe month 3. And then it's like, okay, maybe this relationship with self is not feeling so great. But that, I'm sure that being heavy at your heaviest, I relate to that feeling of feeling uncomfortable in my body and just like, that, seeing that number. And I know it's not about the number, it's about how you feel, right?
Yeah.
The clothes that you put on, how uncomfortable it is to walk up a few flights of stairs, to carry some heavy groceries, whatever it might be. But that relationship with self, it, like, you won't be able to show up for your relationship, this beautiful, incredible relationship that you've called in. You won't be able to show up in your best possible way if you aren't taking care of yourself and not outsourcing your happiness and getting all of your tanks filled by your partner, because I'm sure you don't want to be accountable for filling up all of his either.
No, definitely not. Yeah. And we definitely had this conversation to start with because he was leaning on me for things. And I'm like, hang on a minute, this is too much. Like, stop right now. We need to have a clearing conversation and shift a few things. So it was interesting that I was able to do that, to someone else, but then not to myself. So So fascinating.
Yeah. What's
all
the
right.
plan? I'm going to step into coach mode. What's the plan?
Yeah.
Tell us.
Well, actually, in the last it's Thursday now. Last Thursday, I went to a new gym, and it's a gym that I'm familiar with. Love the training, and at this gym at a previous location, it was the best shape I'd ever been in my life, and I was at my peak at this stage. So I'm like, cool. I know that works. I know that I love the environment. I know that is the best way to set me up. So I have been going to that for the last week, loving it. So I'm like, that gets me my cup filled every single day now. And I need to wake up half an hour before him. As soon as my alarm's off, we have this routine goes off. We set a timer for 5 minutes. Then we actually, and then I get up and it fills my cup up. So there's the relationship cup, and then I immediately, fill my own cup first. And when I come home, he finishes at the gym as well. We meet each other, and then we continue on from there. So that's now the routine, has been for the last week, and I'm feeling so much better. And you know what?
Snaps for you, Alex.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll take all that. Yes. And you know what I'm loving as well, given we're talking about the whole body part of this, is like I'm actually loving the struggle of going, this is fucking hard. Like, this is difficult. And like, because I've now been so aware of like my clothes not fitting, I'm like, it's very front of mind when I get changed every day to go, what am I wearing today? What am I going to feel good in? So then when the alarm's off, I'm like, I want to feel better today. I want to feel different today, rather, not better. Different. And in order for me to do that, I get to go to the gym. I get to say yes to myself to get the outcome. And like when I'm at the gym as well, like I was on a treadmill the other day for a minute, and it's the training I do is like altitude simulated. So like it's hard to breathe, and I couldn't hardly run for literally 1 minute. I'm like, it's 1 fucking minute, 60 seconds. How am I struggling this much right now? I used to do this with like in so much ease, and now I'm not. And I'm like, you're just reading. Like, you are getting to rebuild a different area of your life right now, because you are in a state, and like I've got all the resources available to me, be it in myself or in my environment or in my networks, to like succeed in this next evolution. But am I utilizing it? Yeah, I could go on so deep.
Have you set a goal? Have you set a goal, like hopefully non-weight scales related?
Yeah, I literally don't own a set of scales. It's literally, I've got a few pieces of clothing, and I'm like, I feel fucking amazing in those. And I'm like, right now they're real tight. So I'm like, when I can fit back into those clothes, I'm like, yes. But I'm also detached, because I had this block. We're going real deep here. This is pretty much a coaching session. I had this block the other day of like, I refuse to spend money to buy new clothes, because I'm like, I know the clothes that I have are really beautiful quality and I love them. I bought them with intentionality, but my body doesn't fit right now. And I was like, no, I'm not fucking buying them. I'll just train harder at the gym. I'll just, eat less food or whatever. And I caught myself going, Alex, like, you're living in the future. Let's actually live in the now. And what's the reality right now? You need different clothes for this phase that you're in right now. So let's go shopping. Don't spend an awful lot of money, but like, let's go shopping and like, pay attention to that. Like, spend.
I was about to jump in and be like, Alex, no, but you've self-coached yourself out of it, because we change when we feel good. And if you're putting on leggings to go to the gym that don't fit you, you are not going to feel good. Like, we need that momentum to get going. So thank you for buying yourself pants that fits, because clothes are meant to fit you, not the other way around.
100%. Yes, amen to that.
Yes. Well done, Alex.
Thank you very much. Thank you very Yeah. Thank you. I'm here all week.
I've got a question. Are you ready for some sassy wake-up calls around your money world and a fire to be lit under your eyes? Introducing the Money Queen Coaching Package, a 6-week journey which has already been a key pivotal experience for queens just like you to shift their relationship with money. Get a personalized Sacred Money archetype reading, which is pretty much like a human design, but for your money world, filled with aha moments and 2 tailored 90-minute sessions to reset your money mindset and unleash your magnetic power. Click the link in the show notes to claim your throne, Queen.
Talk to me about your wealth and lifestyle tank. How do you implement that? How do you self-check? What are some parameters that you have around that?
So wealth and lifestyle tank for me calls attention to the idea that I could be working, hustling, grinding, all of that bro marketing energy thing. But am I actually meaningfully creating the lifestyle that I want? I think it was Tim Ferriss kind of framed this up for me, that we can really either earn more or want less. And sometimes asking the question, am I willing to do what would be required to earn more, like let's say to like pay for the business class flights as opposed to the economy flights? Am I willing to make that exchange? Am I willing to do the thing that would require me to earn more so that I could have that experience? Sometimes the answer is a clear yes, sometimes the answer is a clear no. But like you sort of mentioned there, Alex, like you're going through a really big lifestyle transition, having moved quite a sizable different location, distance. You're going to be setting up new communities, new relationships, new patterns of your routines, and you've got a beautiful opportunity to do that with intention. Like, what do you want your perfect week to look like? And if not perfect week, like, what do you want your perfect month to look like? So this tank sort of calls attention to that, is like, what do I actually want my life to look like? Because I could ultimately end up sacrificing a lot of that lifestyle piece in pursuit of wealth. And for me, that's not wealth. For me, wealth, true wealth is like is freedom, is flexibility, is doing work that matters when and where I want to. For me, like, there's a tipping point where I've got too much contact time in my calendar for the week, where I'm like, I feel a bit suffocated, and that's not for me. My lifestyle, I want to, if it's a beautiful day, I want to take my dog for a walk in the middle of the day. I would rather do that while the sun's shining than in the evening, when I don't mind sending a few emails. But I know that lifestyle is not for everyone. So it's about getting really aware about what the wealth goals are, or wealth aspirations are, and current wealth too, to lifestyle. There's things that I'm striving for my lifestyle element that I'm not there yet, and that's okay. I've got a North Star to work towards in that lifestyle element, but knowing what it looks like.
I love that. And I think the analogy in my head when I was listening to that was, people who are chasing dollar values in their business in particular, it's like they're seeking to get rich. But then the people who are actually going wealth and lifestyle, and what does my full life look like? They're seeking like a wealthy life. They're seeking to, generate more wealth in their world. I believe, like, when I talk dollars and cents, I talk wealth as opposed to rich, because I think rich is just a one slice of the pie. But when you talk wealth, it's like, that to me is a more wholesome explanation for it. And, it was a very good example of what you were saying of, someone chasing a financial goal. I did that in my last business and in my career as well. Before I started that business, I was just chasing, the next pay rise, the next promotion. And then when I started the business, it was like, I had these financial goals. And because I was in the money space, I'm like, oh, it just made sense. But then, the journey that I went on with that was everything else went to the wayside. So like the rich cup, for lack of a better word, like, it was full to the brim, but then the lifestyle cup, so depleted it wasn't funny. And it's like, if I had this framework back then, I would have realized, actually, I did have something similar. Have you done the life wheel exercise?
Yeah.
I did one of those, I remember, with one of my mentors, and I was like, it is so wonky. It is not funny. And like, this was before a really dark period of mine. I was just like, I remember seeing the results of the wheel and going, wow, like, it just hits you differently when you see it on a piece of paper, what you're actually doing every day, day in, day out, than when you are in your own reality. And I think that's why it's so important to have space for yourself. And like, I think full circle of what we were talking about before, self-care may actually be doing a life wheel, an updated life wheel, to go, where am I at right now? Like, how wonky is my wheel, or is it pretty balanced? And what do I get to shift so that that wheel gets a bit more round, as opposed to taking a bubble bath that's superficial.
Yeah. Hey, and so, being in warm water, soaking, thinking your own thoughts, maybe that is exactly what you need. I'm not saying that that's not the right fuel for you, but just I want to, the holistic view of like, is that what I really need? Is that the thing that would really add the most fuel to the right tank? But with that wheel of life thing, that's part of what didn't work for me, was because I felt like that exercise lent itself to like, well, the slices of the pie or the slices of the wheel should be full. I just don't really believe that. In any one given moment when an airplane takes off and is heading towards its destination to then land again, there's a multitude of different gauges and on the dashboard in the cockpit, and not all of them are full at all of the time. Some of them need to be fuller at other moments in time than others. I'm not a pilot. Got a good friend who is one though. But yeah, I don't think that our life is meant to be full to the brim in every area at all times. Like, that's not what I'm aspiring for. I'm aspiring for like harmony, and where I know like what full feels like for that tank. And not being critical if it's like, okay, cool, I've got some really cool opportunities in my career and business in the next quarter or season of this life. I'm really comfortable that my relationships and network, my friends, my family, my peers, whatever, I'm maybe not going to see them or have as much quality time with them in the next, 12 weeks as what I would like, but I'm making a conscious decision about it. It didn't just fall away. Managing which tanks are my priority right now, and how long can I leave that one sitting on low for? Because I know for without a doubt that if I let let's say my career and business tank get low, that's definitely then going to influence my wealth and lifestyle tank, and that's going to dip, and then that probably changes my romantic relationship and the things that are available to us and the energy that's around that, and so on, like that cascading effect. I think it's all of our parts of our life are so interconnected, and sometimes we forget to take care of certain areas.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think like the saying of you can have everything that you want, just not all at the same time, is relevant here to go, what are you focusing on right now? Like, what are you choosing? What's your main priority? And then the acceptance of, okay, well, if I'm choosing the world right now, that may mean that for the next 12 weeks, I'm not able to service my career in business because I'm going to be going overseas to a third world country to be doing a humanitarian project for the next 3 months. And that for me is really important. And that means X, Y, and Z, a cascading effect, as you just mentioned. So, choose your heart essentially, or choose your, choose your life.
Everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Every yes is you saying no to something else.
Amen.
Whether or not that's time, money, energy, relationships, there's a cost. And I think for me, this framework has just been about bringing attention to it, and being more mindful about the decisions that I'm making every single day about how I spend my one precious life.
Yeah, because that's it. Because it can literally be gone overnight. Don't know what's going to happen. Now, speaking about the resources that we have available to us, I feel like you go to a lot of networking and development events. So I wanted to ask you, what is your strategy? Do you even have a strategy around those? Like, do you have a game plan when you go into those events? Like, how do you know what to say yes to and what to say no to for your own journey? There's an awful lot of things happening in this post-COVID world, and it's like, It's so easy to go, we've just been in, 3 years of, or 2 or 3 years of being a hermit, and now the opportunities are endless, and you're like, what's it called? Shiny object syndrome of going, oh, that one, oh, that one, oh, that one. Like, how do you actually manage that in your world?
Yeah, so in the next sort of 12 months or so, I'm really leaning into doing more professional speaking.
Yep.
So in the last sort of 6 to 12 months, I've made a real conscious effort to get around other professional speakers. So my my strategy is, what do I want more of, or what is it that the next level that I'm shooting for, and who's already done it, and how can I get around them? And I'm always willing to pay to play with the right people, to get in the right rooms, to learn from people who have done what it is that I'm trying to do, because it's the ultimate shortcut, right? It blows my mind that we can go and buy a book for less than $30. If you're an Audible, Amazon, audio listener, you can get it for like $15. And that's someone who has poured their heart, soul, energy, research into sharing the lessons that they've learned that helped them get where they were going. So for me, I try and get around people who are experts at what it is that they do, and then the communities that they build. And then my strategy from there is, how do I maintain and develop that relationship outside of that community? How do I connect with those people that shape, that create that whole community, but develop a one-on-one relationship that stands alone outside of that, which is sometimes quite hard to do, and it does require some vulnerability to put yourself out there and invite them on your podcast, or ask to be on their podcast, or offer some sort of value to them in some way, whether or not it's sharing resources, or to have that more informal coffee date, or to support whatever the thing is that they're doing. And sometimes it can be like just being their cheerleader and circling back on, hey, we had that conversation at that event, how did that thing go? Like, but it's a personal connection. One of my tanks is relationship and network, and I really believe that if I want to go far, I'm going to go with other people, and it's also going to help me get there faster. So I hope that sort of helps with like my strategy. Figure out what I want to do, pay to play to get around the right people, develop one-on-one relationships with them.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And I think like my goal for the next 12-month goal is also to do more paid speaking engagements as well. And I have an accountability buddy that I meet with every Tuesday, and literally we ask each other 3 questions. What is our goal for the next 12 months? What did we do last week to get closer to that? Yep. And then what are we going to do next week to get closer to that goal? So like that is something that's really effective in my world, to go like, what did I do? Like, what is my goal to start with? What did I do, and what am I going to do? So same in your explanation just now of going like, it's all well and good to go to networking events and to say yes to development events in giving your time, energy, attention, and money. But if you, like, the fortune's in the follow-up, essentially, if you don't do any follow-up afterwards and create those genuine one-on-one connections, for what purpose? Like, why did you actually go? And because that's where, and I've been in business for the last 10 years now, it's based on relationships. And because people buy off people who they know, like, know, and trust. And where is that built from? It's built from a human to human connection. Like, first and foremost, if you don't have relationships with people, you don't have anything, in my opinion, especially in business, because I know personally how I consume. If I have someone in my world who is a friend of mine, who I have had in my world for a little while, and I genuinely trust them, I'm going to go to them before someone who's cheaper. I'm happy to pay a premium for someone that I'm like, no, you are an amazing person. We have this rapport, and I don't mind if you're $50 more expensive than Bob Jane over here. I don't care. Like, and that's fueling the economy of my actual environment, and therefore the rising tide lifts all boats. That's the mentality that I have around me, to go like, it's not just about me.
Yeah, I so agree with that, and that abundance mindset, that help first attitude. I think another thing that is, I always bake in the time after an event for that integration, implementation, reflection. Like, I think sometimes it can be really easy to like block out the half day to go to the thing, but you also then need to block out the half day to do the thing that you just learned, which I don't think a lot of people do. So as an example, I went to a retreat on the Gold Coast a week and a half ago, and the retreat was 3 days, and I stayed on for an additional 2 days to reflect, go through my notes, mindfully come up with my to-do list. And I know that I got far more out of that retreat as a result of taking the extra time than if I had just flown straight home and back into a normal rhythm, you know.
Yeah.
And we always have the best intentions, like, oh yeah, I will do that the week after or the week after or whatever. But if you block it in and commit up front, you know that,
yeah, you'll definitely get the return on investment has increased tenfold, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even though there was like the additional accommodation and all of that sort of stuff, but it was like, I can either get some of the juice out of this squeeze or all of it. And I wanted all of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no point in, if you've got a 500 ml cup, access to going to the event is only going to fill it like, say, 200 mils, and the extra 300 mil is you committing to go, actually, I'm going to stay an extra 2 days and get the rest of the juice out of the orange, perhaps, so that
or do what I mentioned and just spend that following morning doing personal outreach to everybody that you met. Like that takes time. Like you got to commit to that.
Yeah. But also, like, even in that, it takes time. But when you do it on a personal level, as opposed to just getting like your VA or someone in your business to just like send out a generic ass message. If I go to networking events, I'm the same as you. I reach out to people who I connected with, but I make sure it's a personalized message, or like video first off. But if I'm not vibing a video, then I'll do a voice note. If I'm not doing that, then I'll definitely do a text. And it's like, choose how you follow up, because you can follow up and just be flaky and like automated and create no impact, or you can actually be like, hey Sammi, lovely to meet you yesterday. I loved the like 8-tank concept. Can you tell me more about how you pitch a cup? Because that to me really resonated, and I realized that I haven't thought about the future at all lately. Can you tell me what you do? Like that's a really impactful way to go, oh, she remembered my name. She remembered like a concept or a framework that I've developed, and she remembered a detail of that, and she's asking for my help. Like, cool, I get to send her to X, Y, and Z and start that conversation from there, as opposed to going, hey Sammi, nice to meet you yesterday, full stop.
Yeah. It also, like, I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but it also gives you permission to leave those communities if you've established those relationships outside of the container. Because not, you know, sometimes you've extracted the value that you can get from being in a mastermind or a community or in a networking group. You know, I worked for a city council for early in my career, and they had like a local business networking group, and like same people would turn up to the same events month in, month out, like talking about the same things, like still, you know, pitching to each other. Like it was very stagnant community, and that's probably where I learned, like, get what you need, connect with the people, and if it's no longer serving you, you're probably going to get an ROI by turning up to a different room with different people that are more aligned to whatever you're going after in the next season or chapter.
Yeah, totally agree. And I liken it to, you know, people say they've got 10 years of experience, for instance. And it's like, do you actually have 10 years of experience, or do you have 1 year of experience repeated 10 times? Very fucking different outcome. Like, so yes, if you're not actually getting something different or showing up differently, or, you know, analyzing your business in a different way because of the conversations that you're having with the people around you or the rooms that you're saying yes to, shit gets to change. Like you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I also think like being willing to do that, like you said, like how to reach out to someone or to connect with someone, like you've got to be willing to invest the time, the money, the energy to show up to any kind of networking event, all of those resources again to make the personal connections. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Like,
exactly. Very much agree. This is why I have you on the podcast, because you're definitely on my vibration. Now, I have many more questions that I was going to ask you, but we have ran out of time today. So let's close on this question. How can people work with you? because I'm sure there were people listening and going, oh my God, I haven't even thought about like putting the world into my life right now, and like what impact am I actually making on the world? You know, going to the shops and taking my own bags, it may be something, but what can I be doing differently to actually impact the world? Or like, when was the last time that I actually reviewed what does a humming household look like for me? I know right now my bathroom floors, I'm like, I'm going to go and get the mop and mop them up because that's been shitting me for like 5 days now. So
And Alex,
how can people work with you?
Sweet spot of like you're starting a new like housemate relationship as well as on top of your romantic relationship. So you've got like groundwork where you might set up the culture of how you do domestic duties for a long time.
Absolutely.
So.
And that's the thing, like I've never lived with a partner before either. So this is like so many things in my life. I'm like, I've never experienced this. I've never experienced that. I've never experienced this, or I haven't experienced this for a very long time. So yeah, my world is upside down.
All right, so I will answer your question. So how people can work with me. I
Yes.
co-host the Date Forever podcast with my husband, Nathan. We chat with couples and experts about the tips and tricks they've found to keep their relationship with themselves and their chosen person fueled up. I really believe that the quality of our relationships determines the quality of our life, and that starts with our relationship with ourselves and then our romantic partner, the person that we choose to do life with. I've got a heap of free resources on my website, sammijäger.com/freebies. The one that I would probably recommend based on this conversation that we've just had, Alex, is to go to sammijäger.com/tank check. And people can grab those 8 different tanks and walk through an exercise to check in with your 8 different areas and figure out where is the fuel at, what needs more, is it the results that you thought, is it surprising, what do you maybe want to focus on. And then I have one-on-one coaching as well, so if you want to dive into a session, sometimes these things are kind of hard to read the label from inside the container, so sometimes you need that third-party external perspective to help you bounce that back and forth. And I would love to do that with anyone who's ready to take a more holistic look at what they're doing in their relationship with themselves and the rest of their life, because I love working with women who are in business to help them take care of themselves and their relationships so that they can thrive in business. And I really believe that, you know, I've never regretted investing in myself. And I say that to my clients too. So you can find, me on sammijäger.com, reach out, we can connect. If something has resonated from this episode, please, I love Instagram. It's one of my favorite platforms. Come say hello. If you've got a question, follow up. You'll find me Sammi somewhere, Sammi with an I. So that's all the ways you can find me on the internet.
Excellent, cool. And obviously we'll pop the links to all those things down below in the episode.
Thank you, Queen, for saying yes to your yes in listening to this episode and being a part of raising the feminine collective one conversation at a time. Remember to share this episode with your business besties and join me in breaking the tabooness around having money conversations. As always, if you have enjoyed this episode, please rate, subscribe, and share this on your social media, remembering to tag me in it to help this conversation go further, which creates a bigger ripple effect.